Welcome back to Newsmax Now. I'm Miranda Kahn. Time now for a look at some of the stories making headlines on this Friday. Maryland prosecutors charged 6 Baltimore police officers involved in the death of Freddie Gray.
Lieutenant Rice, Officer Miller, and Officer Narrow failed to establish probable cause for Mr. Gray's arrest as no crime had been committed by Mr. Gray.
State Attorney Marilyn Mosby claims the officers conducted an illegal arrest. ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi may be, quote, clinically dead. That's according to the Jerusalem Post. Earlier this week, several reports said al-Baghdadi was seriously injured during a U.S. airstrike in Iraq. Former Florida governor and possible presidential hopeful Jeb Bush says governors, not senators, know how to lead this country. Not so, though, if you ask Florida Senator Marco Rubio. He says senators have crucial foreign policy experience, something governors lack. Quarterback Jameis Winston will continue to play football in the Sunshine State. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers took the former Seminole with the first pick in the 2015 NFL Draft. The 21-year-old won a Heisman Trophy back in 2013. And the world says goodbye to an American soul legend, Ben E. King. The man best known for the song Stand By Me died at the age of 76 last night.
That was James Brown and Paul McCartney singing Stand By Me.
Everybody loved that song.
All right, so it's Friday this weekend, Miranda. Big weekend for sports, including the fight of the millennium or the century or whatever. Manny Pacquiao is taking on Floyd Mayweather, and Manny Pacquiao's trainer talking about the mental aspect of all this, getting into it. We're going to bring in Dr. Terry Lyles, a psychologist and stress coach. Good to see you, Dr. Lyles.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, let's play that soundbite if we have it prepared from Freddie Roach, the trainer of Manny Pacquiao.
Manny's really focused fight and really trained really hard for this fight, and we still got a couple more days to go. And I can't wait to go to Vegas and get this fight on.
All right, so Freddie Roach, he's suffering from Parkinson's disease. You hear that in his voice, an inspiring story, but we'll talk about Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Millions of dollars on the line here. How do you deal not only with the fight, but that kind of stress?
Well, two things. I mean, these guys both won no matter what because, you know, they look at it as a business opportunity first off, but still there's the bragging rights of you win, you lose. So the mind-body capacity of what I do in training is, you know, I typically wire people up with telemetry to find out what's happening inside of their bodies and their minds, that we can build a hypothesis that says, hey, you need to eat this way, exercise this way. So they have the physical side down. The mental side is always the one that's most challenging because if you lose that mental edge during a fight or any kind of sporting event, you can lose regardless of how physically fit you are.
I can't even imagine the exertion that goes into
5 years, because this has been 5 years in the making, and like you said, bragging rights. There's a lot resting on their shoulders right now.
Yeah, I mean, Pacquiao's got the whole country on his back. He's a hero.
A congressman. And
exactly. I mean, this guy, he's got his thing going on. Mayweather wants the bragging rights of never losing. He may retire after this, may not, but that's the mental side of the game. And we all have a mental aspect, even with what we do. But it's how do you run that in contrast with your physiology? It's kind of like a computer, hard drive and software. How does it interface to make the best response you can get?
So if I'm Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao right now, one day before this fight, what am I doing?
I'm trying to stay focused on, you know, not the end goal, but round by round. You know, it's very interesting. The athletic performance system is about minute by minute, you know, round by round. Because if you think about the end too quickly, you'll slip. So it's like driving a car. You can't look too far down the road. Doesn't that work in everyday
life too?
Exactly.
Of course it does.
Right? So this step by step, baby steps.
You slow it down. And athletes go through training, and that's part of what I do, is train athletes how to slow their reality down, that it actually appears slower when it's really not, because you become hyper-focused on what's important at this moment to the next moment to the next moment. We're doing the same thing here.
It's interesting you say that because I went to the Daytona 500 one time covering the race, talking to the pit
that's
crews.
my world.
But that's exactly that's exactly what they say.
Sure.
When you watch them change a tire in less than a second or so, how in the world do you do that? And I asked the guy, this is on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit crew, and he says, we slow down.
Sure.
So we speed up. We do these things very slowly, but over time you speed up, and it seems like it's slow.
Well, the driver drives one corner at a time. And my recognition to them always is, you know, stay in the car. In other words, don't think about the next pit stop. Don't think about the last one. Drive corner by corner. Pit crew guys hit one lug nut at a time. NASCAR, they have to hit 5 lug nuts to get one wheel off. IndyCar, they do one. Formula One, they do one.
So how can
you have to focus.
Use some of those skills that we can apply in our everyday life?
You focus on what's important versus what's urgent. So many of us get caught up in the urgency of life, and everything is
We wouldn't know anything
today.
about that word.
No, deadlines.
Exactly.
Deadlines.
Deadlines.
No, okay.
I show up and get canceled all the time. You know, like, oh, it's a new story. Hey, I get it.
I get it.
It's the importance of now. If you can stay in the now, you control your world. You control your world by doing just that. And that's what becomes important every day.
All right, stay in present, stay in the now, and appropriately a plug for our own show, which is called Newsmax Now. We try to stay in
I
the
like
now.
that segue.
Thank you, guys.
Dr. Terry Lyles, we'll
Appreciate
see you
it.
again soon. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Coming up, are these headlines real or fake? We'll let you decide.
And why it might not be so easy to tell. We'll talk about that. Plus a new hashtag on the Twitter about minimum wage, what it really means for you and your bottom line. We're breaking it down in our roundtable coming up.
And later, sometimes there's a person or story you read about in the news that just leaves you scratching, asking why.